Hi, my name is Marissa Newland, and I am a graduate student at the Grand Canyon University. Currently, I am enrolled in the course Introduction to Graduate Studies in the Department of Education. The purpose of this video today is to reflect on the dispositions that I withhold for teaching. When I was looking at the dispositions and evaluating them and rating myself on them, I was able to identify ones that I feel confident in. I feel confident that I am very committed to my profession of teaching and learning. I constantly look for ways that I can grow as an educator. I constantly reflect on my teaching and see what I can do better. I show professionalism in my relationships with others, whether it's students or staffs that I encounter on a day to day basis, or making sure I'm following up with emails relating to parents, anything that I can do to show professionalism. I'm trying my best to. I model integrity by speaking about topics that are relevant and important to student success and learning in my classroom. I'm not afraid to tell my students when I've made a mistake and fix it because they need to realize that teachers are just humans, nobody's perfect. When planning for activities for my students, I use my judgment to guide me for the best learning experience that I can have for my students. And throughout my classroom, I try to promote collaboration and hands on learning as much as possible. I maintain confidentiality for my students and their families, and I'm always making sure that if I'm sending an email regarding different aspects of their lives, I use initials where I can, and I try to make sure that it is only going to the person who needs to read it and that they have permission to be viewing what I'm saying. I always provide social equity within my classroom and make sure that everybody has a fair learning experience, whether that means I need to scaffold for different students that, and some students I don't need to scaffold for. But overall, the most important disposition that I am proud that I hold in my classroom and within myself is that I hold my students to high expectations, and I truly believe that every student can learn no matter who they are. The only one after I reviewed them that I really feel that I need to be better at is serving the community in more ways than just teaching. I teach in a town that I do not live in, and I feel like I make a lot of excuses to not serve in the community other ways that teachers should be serving. Um, a professional educator can be different things. They don't all have to live in this community, but I think it's still important to show that your students that you are still active in the community, and that can look different ways, which leads me into the last topic of how a professional educator should act and look. And they can obviously, professional educators are different no matter where we're at. They look different, they talk different. I think that the most important thing is that professional educators need to be lifelong learners, and they need to constantly be willing to adapt to change on a day-to-day basis and carry themselves with respect. Um, Teachers act different in classroom, as elementary teachers might act different in a kindergarten classroom versus a fifth grade classroom, and a high school teacher obviously doesn't treat their students the exact same way a kindergarten teacher will treat them, but teachers need to withhold that high standard for students no matter what level you are teaching. And you need to model this standard by showing that you are also willing to learn new things and hold yourself accountable as a teacher, candidate, or a teacher in general. Even if it's your 20th year teaching, you should be able to adapt to change on a day to day basis. Standards are available that can help guide professional educators. You can find this on the National Council for the Advancement of Educator Ethics, which will outline a code for model, like it outlines a model code for ethics for educators. I think it's really important as educators to to find their place in a classroom. And I think that once you find your school district that you want to work for, they will also help model and give you examples of how they expect you to be. as a teacher. So, thank you for listening. That is my view on different dispositions in the teaching world.